To order, let the record reflect that today is Thursday, September 28, and it is 6:04 p.m. I'd like to call on our board secretary to take the roll.
Trustee Ahuna.
Ew.
Trustee Akaka. Ew. Trustee Akina.
Aloha mai kako.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria.
Ew.
Trustee Souza. Trustee Trask. Trustee Waihe'e is excused, and Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Present.
You have 8 trustees. We have quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I would also like to ask each trustee to introduce themselves and their staff. And I'm going to call on Trustee Alapa first.
Aloha. Good evening, everyone, and mahalo for coming out tonight to our Papakolea community meeting. And my name is Luana Alapa, and I am the Molokai Lanai trustee. And I have 2 of my staff members here, Pohai Ryan and Summer Soar. Is somebody there? Hi, you guys. Thank you so much. And once again, mahalo for being here this evening.
Thank you. Trustee Souza.
Aloha mai kako. I'm Keone Souza, trustee at large. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to introduce my staff, Rochelle Kim. Look forward to hearing your concerns and seeing how we can work together to accomplish a positive, move in a positive direction. Thank you so much. Aloha.
Trustee Galuteria.
Hello, everybody. Brickwood Galuteria, trustee at large. And we have Leanne Stender, who's our staff over here. Mahalo. So good to see some friends here. Aloha. Mahalo for coming.
Trustee Trask.
Aloha, I'm Mililani Trask. I'm the trustee of the Big Island of Hawaii, and I am here with my staffer, Kahelelani Kiavikani, sitting with her husband, DJ.
Trustee Akina.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Keli'i Akina, trustee at large, and I'd like to introduce my aide, Ruben Sierra, and Darlene Ivalani Canto. Just delighted to be here with all of you. This place is special to us. Our family has lived many years in the area. We've had children here at Kawananakoa. We know of the Kawananakoa family, and this is a very special place. Thank you for taking time to come today. We want to hear your mana'o. We need to hear what you have to share, and look forward to that. Aloha.
Trustee Ahuna.
Velina mai me ke aloha o Dana Huna ko inoa no kapa'a mai au, but born and raised in Papakolea. And I just wanted to say hi and welcome everyone. And I want to thank our BAE chair for taking us on some great visits today. I just want to thank you all. With me today is my aide. She's outside. Her name is Anuhea Diamond. Mahalo.
Aloha mai kako. I'm Trustee Hulu Lindsay, the Maui trustee. I also chair the board, and I'm so happy to be here with you this evening. Mahalo for coming and sharing your evening with us. We're here to answer your concerns or address them. And with me tonight are my staff members, the board secretary, Lehua Itokazu, and my aide, Amber Kalua. And at this time, I'd like to introduce you to your trustee, the trustee for the island of Oahu. Ladies and gentlemen, your trustee, Kalei Akaka.
Just like the Merry Monarch. What an introduction. Mahalo. Very dignified. Mahalo nui. Aloha pumehana. I'm Kalei Akaka, and I'm honored to serve as your OHA Oahu trustee, as well as the chair of OHA's Committee on Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment. A lot of it is legislative. Joining me this evening is Nathan Takeuchi and Mark Watanabe. They're part of my Akaka team at OHA. As well as our IT staff, the chair staff, and those in administration made this meeting possible. So I also want to mahalo them for this. Also joining me, Another part of my team is my ohana, which is my husband Tyler there, and our baby waving over there. I also wanted to mahalo Chair, mahalo for supporting me in these endeavors and having these island community meetings. When I started at OHA, I had specifically asked, seeing that we're having the neighbor island meetings where we're able to go into the different communities throughout the islands to stay on the pulse, to hear the needs and concerns of our people, hearing what has been working and what we can improve on, and how we can best collaborate. I wanted to have that here for our Hawaiian community, and specifically target our homestead areas. So tonight's is Papakolea. We had one in Waianae. We're having one in Kapolei. And we're also having one in Waimanalo. So mahalo nui for joining us. I also wanted... Yes, mahalo. I also wanted to acknowledge Colin. You know, he has been serving us as our interim CEO, and he's been really working hard to make all of this happen. So mahalo, mahalo, Colin. And also, I wanted to make note that we have some refreshments over there. So please, please do enjoy that tonight. And now, administration. Okay, I would like to introduce the staff on administration. We have here, let's see, Casey Brown. He is somewhere in here. Oh, you know what? He will introduce the staff then. Mahalo.
I didn't realize it was corded. Mahalo, trustee. Here from administration tonight is our Community Engagement Director and Interim Chief Advocate, Capsen Poi, sitting down. And he's sitting next to our brand new Community Engagement Manager, Chantel Belay. Welcome, Chantel. We have, where's our beneficiary? Our beneficiary services agent back there holding down the fort of our Oahu office. That's Kaimo Mulstein. And behind all the technical equipment, if you see digital, these men are responsible for it. We have our systems engineer, Dave Kozuki, sitting down over here. And back there on the camera, there is our multimedia designer, Jason Lees. Sorry, I want to make sure I'm scanning and not missing anybody. Mahalo. Mahalo, Chair.
Mahalo, Casey. And I also wanted to make note that Capsen Poi, who's been serving us very well and always with such grace, he will be moving on to great endeavors with those at the DOE, Board of Education, and we will dearly miss him, and we mahalo him for his years of service at OHA currently, and he has been a returning veteran to OHA as is Chantel. So we love it when things are full circle and we have our rock stars returning to us. So mahalo nui. I'm going to hand it back to Chair.
I'd like to call on Interim CEO Colin Kippen to give an update of what's happening at OHA.
Aloha mai kako. I'm Colin Kippen. I'm the interim CEO at the office. And what I'd like to tell you about that has just hit the news is the data about the diaspora, which is all of those Hawaiians. There are more Hawaiians who live on the continent than now live in Hawaii. And that has incredibly huge implications for us as a people. And so I wanted to say that to you because OHA has, as part of their strategy, building housing for Hawaiian people. And so that is absolutely crucial. As those of us who have children and grandchildren who no longer live here, and I'm one of them, it is just tragic to me. And so I just wanted to let you folks know, I actually have the data here. I'm going to go put it right over there on that table, and if you want to pick up a copy of it, you can. But the data is just absolutely overwhelming. In 2010, 55% of Hawaiians lived in Hawaii. 45% lived on the continent. In 2020, 47% of Native Hawaiians lived in Hawaii, while 53% lived on the continent. This is not acceptable. And these trustees understand that, and they're working to fix that. So I just want you folks to know it's something to talk about, it's something to think about, because this is our Pico. We can't be anywhere else. This is our homeland. So if you want to see the data, it's there. Please stay tuned to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and what we're going to be doing to help address this problem. Thanks.
I've been asked to just briefly share with you what's happening in Maui and what OHA has done to contribute to the kokua of our people. It's still a sad day in Maui, and it's 2 months later. However, our people are a resilient people, and we're all pulling together to help one another. And I'd like to just share that OHA has been boots on the ground from day one. We did start from partnering with a global nonprofit named Global Empowerment Mission, which calls themselves GEM. This particular nonprofit came to Maui the day after the fires and wanted to speak with someone. I was blessed that they found my name, and I had a conversation with them, and they told me that their mission was to help devastations, people in devastations, and specifically housing. So I was really interested, and I thought, hey, our Hawaiians can use that kind of help. So he said, let's do a pilot program tomorrow, 2 days after the fire. I texted all the Hawaiian organizations in Maui, and we had 135 families come to our office at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs in Maui and sign up. You know, it was such a blessing because as soon as they signed up, they got in their hands a $7,000 voucher. No questions asked, just IDs. The ID that matched the addresses that were burned. And they were able to get an Airbnb that night to sleep with their families. So that was a really, really wonderful blessing for us. And it happened by chance. But you know what? Akua is watching us. We also were able to have our board who created a pig. I don't know if you realize what a pig committee is, but it's a permitted interaction group where we can meet without having to agendize 4 trustees at a time. So we met. We got together to discuss what can OHA do for the fires, for the people that are suffering in Maui. The PIG recommended to the board, and the board approved an allocation of $5 million to help our people there. We have not given out the money yet, because we met with the people, the leaders in Maui. And I also met with the mayor in Maui and wanted to ask them how we can best deploy the money. And they told us, wait, let's see what the federal going to do for the people, what the state is going to do, and what the county is going to do. And then you folks can pick up the slack. So we're waiting, but I'm in Lahaina every week, just following up on what's happening to them. They seem to have some sort of closure because they finally were allowed to go in and look at their burned down properties this week. So our aloha is with the displaced people and also with the families that have lost their loved ones. We are doing so much more. People have volunteered, like salmon from Alaska came into OHA for me to deliver to the cooks at the University of Hawaii Maui campus. We've assisted concerts that have raised money for the displaced people by allowing them the use of a venue that was donated to OHA. So we are watching very carefully because we want our people to be resilient as they are and be able to continue taking care of their families and keeping roofs over their heads. We have gotten this promise from the governor and the mayor, but we are watching because we know that they must be nervous about the situation that they're in. So I just want to leave this report with you. We also had, we volunteered and offered our warehouse at Haku'one, where we were able to collect donations from Honolulu to be shipped to Maui. Within the first week, 14 pallets of baby diapers, water, and all the necessities that they need right away, that was shipped to Maui. So we've had the cooperation of so many people. So much aloha have come out of our reaching out. So we mahalo all the people that have helped us, that have been so generous. We cannot thank you enough. That's my report on Maui. Also, I'd like to turn the time over to Trustee Kalea Kaka to oversee the rest of tonight's meeting.
Mahalo nui, Chair. Mahalo for that update. Lehu, I wanted to ask if there's any testifiers that have signed up for the agenda item on the status update for that Colin had given. Mahalo. Now, before we move on to our next agenda item, I just wanted to share that what Trustee Ahuna had mentioned earlier in his introductions, that we had done site visits earlier, and the first site visit was at Fitted Hawaii. This is a business by somebody that is the recipient of an OHA Malama loan. So we're very happy to see the successes of this great story that OHA has been a part of. And then after that, we went to Hale Makana o Mo'ili'ili, which is kupuna housing. And these have been wonderful opportunities for our trustees and staff to see of the good work that is being done and seeing how we can best collaborate going forward. Now, our next agenda item is community presentations, and our first presenter is Patty Tankayo, President and CEO of the Hawaiian Community Development Board. She hosted us at our Hale Makana o Mo'ili'ili site visit. Before we proceed, Lehua, is there anyone that has signed up for testimony on this item? Mahalo. So I will welcome now Patty Tankayo. Is she outside?
Good evening, Chairwoman Lindsay and members of the board. My name is Patty Tankayo. I am so excited to be here and nervous. And beside me, I'd like to introduce Keola.
Aloha. I'm Keola Maikalani Dean, CEO of the King Lunalilo Trust. Mahalo, trustees.
So I'd just like to clarify that I actually stepped down from HCDB last month. And I did that so I could specifically pursue this project that I'm talking about, because there was a lot of perceived conflict of interest because of my long-standing work relationship with Kali Watson, and now that he's over there, I just wanted to make it very clear that this project is my project. It has, Kali was, he's probably talking about it, but it initiated from me and not from him. So currently I'm representing, and I'm a general partner of Ikenakea Development. Ikenakea Development is an affordable housing company. Oh, if you can turn on the screen. How do I do that? Okay. This picture that I show over here is actually of my grandma, her sisters, and her father on the top. Her father is James OHA, and he was the original lessee of the homestead that I grew up on, Molokai, in Ho'olehua. He was one of the first homesteaders. They didn't have nothing over there. They had to carry their 5-gallon bucket to eat and to drink and to everything. But today, if you go to Molokai, right by the airport, that's my my Tutu's homestead that I was so fortunate to grow up on. How do I do it? The down arrow? Okay. Okay, so I have a team of Ikenakea Development and Luna Lilo Trust. We're the developer, and Luna Lilo Trust is going to be the owner and operator of these projects that we are going to build. And I hope that I'm going to see OHA up there as one of our partners. What's that? Okay, Ikenakea Development, we do affordable housing. My focus is on the Native Hawaiian communities. We do new construction, reuse, rehab, commercial centers. We have an industrial base yard, and we are developing a hotel. These are the projects that we're completed. This is our Hale Makana o Nanakuli, Ma'ili, and Mo'ili'ili. Today you guys visited Hale Makana o Mo'ili'ili. And Hale Makana o Mo'ili'ili was the recipient of this year's Kukulu Hale Award by NIHOP. And a really quick story is that my architect called me and said, hey, we got a table, can you come? And I said, well, you think you're going to win or what? He said, well, yeah, just come anyway. So our competition was Stanford Car. It was all the big companies, and we won. Okay, these are other projects that we've completed. Hale View Apartments, that's the one by the airport. We have a project in Kapolei and one out here by the freeway. If you see the one with that picture over there, that's our project. Oh, wrong way. And this is the Nanakuli Village Center. It was a lease that the Nanakuli Homestead Association got, and we acted as the developer. And these are the projects that I mentioned today that we are approved for financing. We're just closing. Actually, the one in the middle, we closed last month. And that's 121 units. The one on the left is our 3 phases on Maui. The one on the right is the 2 phases in Lihui. And these are the new projects that are in pre-development. We are working on 2 projects in Punahou. That's a hotel, the one on the right, and a project in Pro City, Aiea.
So King Luna Lilo Trust, you all know us as Luna Lilo Home. We've been around for 140 years. Oh, I see right there. And our will, and therefore our directive from King Lunalilo, is to erect one or more buildings for the use and accommodation of the poor, destitute, and infirm Native Hawaiians, giving preference to kupuna, to old people. And when I read that language, I was really shocked because it's much more than the nursing home. This will was meant to be the Ali'i Trust to take care of housing and shelter, just the way that Kamehameha is there for schooling and education, and Lili'u Okalani Trust is there for children and orphans. And so that's what we're driving toward, is to reestablish our role as the Ali'i Trust for taking care of housing. And in this crisis that we're in, I cannot think of a more important project. So we are in partnership with Ike Nakea Development, and we are very much looking forward to sharing with you about our 10 projects. So a little more. So our services, we started with Lunalilo Home. It was actually in Makiki, right by Roosevelt High School. And then in the late 20s, the trustees moved us out to Hawaii Kai, even before Hawaii Kai existed. In addition to the home, though, we offer the adult daycare program, and that is also in Hawaii Kai, and we are looking to expand that across the island of Oahu and also on the other islands. Some of you came out last month to the site visit to our Ma'ili kitchen, and so we are offering meals to go in Ma'ili as well as out in East Honolulu. And we are in the process of planning for the establishment of a new home care agency. This is what's going to bring CNAs and homemakers into kupuna's homes to help with daily chores, to help them with their personal hygiene when they cannot do those chores themselves. Home care agency services are not available equally across the state. They are only available in certain areas more than others, and I was very surprised to hear from multiple colleagues that there are no home care agency services really on the west side of Oahu, and that is something that we are wanting to fix. And then, of course, kupuna housing. And one thing I wanted to just talk about in terms of the trust role in affordable housing. We have been providing long-term care services, and that's been our kuleana for 140 years. But what we also have done is provided the services that bring the community to Lunalilo Home. So many people and communities come to Lunalilo Home and have come to Lunalilo Home for decades, where kids remember as adults the songs that they performed for the kupuna at Lunalilo Home. That is part of the community, bringing the community to the home that is critical for having kupuna really thrive. Because kupuna need more than, yes, they need housing, yes, they need food, yes, they need supportive services, but they also need to feel like they are part of the community and at the heart of a community that loves them. That's what makes kupuna thrive. We know that at Lunalilo Home, and that is really the special sauce that we are bringing to the table to make this an innovative project.
Okay, so our proposal to you is for you to join us in our strategic plan. In the next 5 years, we are going to build 10 kupuna projects throughout the state. And we'd like each trustee in their respective island to assist us in identifying the sites so that it's a relevant site, the community can see you, and it's tangible. So for each site, we need $1 million. And that leverages your money 1 to 29, because like I explained today, an estimated cost for a project is $30 million. So the objective of our strategic plan is to address the affordable housing crisis, to create cultural connection points, PEVAs, so that we can transfer our traditions to the next generation, to provide on-site comprehensive support services, to honor our specific community needs and cultural practices, and to deliver holistic environmental nurturing of the kupuna's well-being and cultural integrity. Shoot, keep on doing that, I'm so sorry. Okay, right off of your website, I looked at the mission and the strategic plan. Our project is in perfect alignment with your mission. It empowers Native Hawaiians. It focuses on affordable housing, and it enhances the resource management of our communities. In the strategic plan, strategy 5 and 6, it increases rental housing. It strengthens safety and culture. It supports the Hawaiian Homelands Act, and it expands housing on Hawaiian homelands. Perfect alignment. As I explained today, a project would cost $30 million. How we calculate the permanent debt, the first line, is we calculate the revenue minus the operating costs, you have your net income. Based on your net income, we can calculate how much permanent debt we have. So based on a 45-unit project, we can qualify for approximately $2.5 million. The second thing we do is we calculate how much tax equity we can get from an investor. So based on a $30 million project, and based on the eligible tax basis of the project, I project we can get $14.4 million of tax equity. For Nahasda, I'm going to go back to Kali and ask him for $3 million per project. And that's your guys' $1 million. So the balance of $10 million I'm going to get from the rental housing revolving funds. So with your commitment and with Kali's commitment, I can apply for financing in February. I can get it financed with you guys' participation. And that's because of the leveraging of what we're bringing in. Plus, we can also get rental vouchers from DHHL. Okay, this is too small to read, never mind, pass them. Okay, so this is a sample of how the Nahasda rental subsidies would work. So in this project, the maximum AMI is 60%. So 60% for one person is $55,020. So the rent, the maximum amount for a one bedroom would be $1,475. So if you look at the second one, the average Social Security income is $1,500. Now, I actually go into the trenches. That's what our people are making. They're making like $1,500 on the neighbor islands or less. And the beauty of this is that they only have to pay 30% of their income. So that means that their rent would be $466. So here's the 10 projects statewide. 3 on the Big Island, 2 on Maui, 1 on Molokai, 3 on Oahu, and 1 on Kauai. So I'm going to give you a sample of the work that we do and how quickly this can happen. This can be a reality. So for the island of Molokai, we went there first because that's my island. And we identified a site, and the Kalamaula Homestead Association helped us identify a site. And it's right in the back of Kulana Au'iwi. So what we do is we analyze the site, we look at everything about it. And I think, I can't remember if I included it in your packet, but this is just a sample of what we're going to do for each site. We look around. What's available? Is it near the hospital? Is it near a clinic? Can they walk to the grocery store? Is the property near utilities? All those things that we take into consideration. This project would score very well. So this is just a conceptual plan to kind of, what we have to do is do a layout, look at where the trade winds are coming, look at the egress and ingress, do a footpath. So in this particular, on Molokai, there's a lot of social services over there. So we are not going to have those things because we're not going to duplicate any services. But the emphasis on this project is going to be the PEVA that we talked about. So if you look around, there's going to be areas for storytelling, mo'olelo. There's going to be lauhala making area. There's going to be hula dancing area. So all those areas where the transfer of our culture can be done, which is very important. Okay, all you guys went into the studio, right? We're not having studios anymore. It's going to be one bedrooms. Okay, so how we came up with this layout is that Lunalilo Homes has a community development plan where the plan looks at it in a way that would best suit kupuna. So everything, like the threshold of the bathroom, all those things that would make it a place where the kupuna could age in place. So we are going to use their plan as our guide. Okay, so Big Island now. This one is just a sample now, okay? So if you guys, we can meet with you, we go look at sites, and this is what we're going to do for each site. Look at the site, do an analysis, look at what's around, make sure everything is accessible. And then do a layout for the site. Now this one would have all the bells and whistles, potentially. This one is going to have the pico. It's going to have the big daycare area. It's going to have all the things that Keola needs to do all of his services. Unlike what Molokai didn't, right? So each area would be different. Okay, so this is a sample of Waianae. Waianae is a challenging area. Okay, this is right by the Waianae Comprehensive Center. We looked at this site. So Kali wants to do a student housing, so we cut that out of our conceptual plan, and we're just working with the balance. So because we only have a small area to work with, we're looking at 5 stories going up, probably similar to how Mo'iliili would be. Okay, so I came up with 11 benefits for OHA to invest per project. The first one is perfect strategic alignment. The second one is leverage impact. $1, we bring in $29. 3, community involvement. Each trustee will work closely with the community. And we're going to build projects that is relevant to that community that you're in. It's not going to be like the same. It's all going to be different. Cultural preservation. We're going to have the PEVA concept in there. 5, holistic support. We're going to have the daycare, the home care, everything to make that a thriving elderly project. 6, this is a very safe investment for OHA. Like I said today, our permanent lender is going to be Bank of Hawaii, First Hawaiian Bank, American Savings. They underwrite us, our project. They look at all of our performers. It's a very safe investment. It's not like it's not going to happen. It is going to happen. 7, tangible returns. Our community is waiting for us to do something. This is urgent. They want us to do something. Every time I go out to the community, they're like, come build something over here for us. Come build something. So this is a response to that, and I hope you guys will join me with this. 8, the legacy creation. Each project will be a monument. I think this might be the first project that Lunalilo Trust, potentially you guys, DHHL, and Bishop Estate built something together. We're building a new community. 9, economic stimulus. It's going to provide approximately $300 million of an impact. 10, social and cultural healing. When the people see these projects, it's gonna cause some healing. And 11, again, you guys have no at-risk money. Ikanakea Development is going to pay for all the pre-development costs. We typically spend $1 million per project to get it, and we will take the risk, and Lunalilo Home will take the risk to do it. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Mahalo nui. Mahalo nui for that presentation. Members, are there any questions, comments that we may have for these presenters here? Trustee Mililani Trask.
Patty, I was trying to take notes. You had indicated you're starting with 3 projects now.
Well, the first one, we have a site. We're looking for 2 more. What I did was, when I was looking, I told our architect, I want to show you guys what we can do.
The ask from OHA is $1 million per project. The
Yes.
project estimated total cost is at $30 million. I missed when you said that you needed the first down payment. Was it by January or February?
What I would need is just your commitment to say it's contingent upon us getting the rest of the financing.
Right.
And then we wouldn't need it until we close.
Was it January or February?
We would need just a letter
Yes.
in February.
And that would be with regards to $3 million, one for each project?
Correct.
And the total number of units?
About 110?
120 to 150.
Oh, 120 to 150.
Thank you.
Trustee Keli'i Akina.
Good to see you again, Patty and Keola. Great presentation. And for everyone else, I'm Keli'i Akina, trustee at large. Just a couple of quick questions, and one of them kind of overlaps Trustee Trask's question. In total, for the 10 buildings, how many units will you be producing?
400 to 500.
Yeah, 400 to 500.
400 to 500 homes?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the profile of residents who would be qualified to apply and move in terms of their income and ethnicity?
For 2023, when I looked, it was for one person, they cannot exceed an income of more than $55,000.
And are you targeting the elderly in particular?
Yes, you have to be 55 years and older.
And what about ethnicity?
Because it's on Hawaiian homelands, we are going to have a priority list. So first we're going to take people off of the wait list, then beneficiaries at large, and then to the wider Native Hawaiian community, and then the general public.
These are all built on DHHL lands.
We're targeting,
Okay.
yes, we're targeting Hawaiian homelands because the land is free.
I understand. Okay, well, thank you very much. What I understand, as was shared earlier, is that our administration has received a proposal, is that right? And they're doing the due diligence on that. So here at this meeting, of course, we can't give you any official response and so forth, but I can just tell you, I'm very enthusiastic about the directions you have been pointing us in, and congratulate you on the work you've brought together.
Thank you. Thank you.
Trustees, any other trustees want to speak on this? Trustee Ahuna?
Patty, I just wanted to thank you. It's so important that we accommodate these types of services for our kupuna because, I mean, we have all ages ranging in our Hawaiian communities, especially our homestead communities. You know, Papakolea is another perfect example. One of the hardest things for my mom going home was climbing those steps, going up. You know, if they have a facility where they can just access in and out, that would be great. So I just commend you, and thank you so much for offering this to OHA. Mahalo.
Trustee Luana Alapa?
Aloha. Nice to see you again. I just want to say how excited I am for the first build out of our kupuna housing program on the island of Molokai. And any idea when that's going to start?
Okay, so what I have to do is put together the financial package. Okay. So I would need a commitment from you guys, but I don't need it until February. Okay, so I would work with you, and we could go over the conceptual plans, and once we're okay with it, I start running to put the application together in February. So if we put the application in February, we find out if we win in July or August, okay, of 2024. Then we close as quickly as we can get the building permit. So if it takes 6 months or 9 months, we close. Because that's what basically the last element that we need is the building permit. But because it's probably going to take, we're probably going to close 2025. Yeah, construction.
Oh, construction, okay.
Yes, we're going to construct.
So we're going to get to break the ground and all that. Okay, that's what I'm
Yes.
talking. All right, thank you so much. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui. I just want to also mention just what a top-notch quality, beautiful build-out you folks have done there. And I'm very honored to have visited the site there for the second time now today, and for our trustees and board and staff to have witnessed it as well. Mahalo nui.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is Kalani. Yeah, oh.
You know, Patty, when you and I first thought about this many years ago, actually it was about 35 years ago, when you were at OHA, we had hoped that there would be a partnership, the At the time, there was a time there where there was actually a housing division at OHA.
Yes.
There is none and has not been any for years. So I just want to say for the record that I, as the current vice chair, will volunteer to work with you directly. And I don't think that residing on the Big Island is any cause for hesitation in that you will be coming our way shortly. But I'm very happy to work with you. Call me anytime, and I'll be back in town next week. Let's go for it. Letter by February, I think we can do it, trustees. We'll bring it to the board. Mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mahalo. And I also want to note that when we looked at this requirements, the specifications, and qualifying for this, I think many of us present here qualify to live in this housing, if not soon. Mahalo for serving our Hawaiian people.
Thank you very much.
Our next presenter this evening is Kalani Franda, who oversees special projects within the Office of the Department of Hawaiian Homeland's Chairman. Lehua, do we have any testifiers on this item? Mahalo. Kalani, I'll hand it over to you.
Aloha. Aloha, Chair Lindsay, Oahu Island Trustee Akaka, Board of Trustees, Kapohana, leadership team, staff, and the community. Once again, my name is Kalani Franda with the Office of the Chairman for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. When Chair Watson was confirmed by the Senate, he committed to accelerating the development process to address the waiting list. His first strategy was to assemble a team seasoned in development and partnering up with the development division to find various ways and methods to strategize and implement development of single-family houses, mixed-use development, ADUs, etc. I'm here for information purposes, and the program that I will share with you tonight provides solutions to move the process to award more lots to the waiting list. As we will see, there are many scattered lots across the Pai'aina in residential and agricultural communities. Oops. Over the next hour, no, I'm just kidding. It's only 10 minutes. Over the next 10 minutes.
15 minutes. Mahalo. Papakolea focus. Mahalo.
I will briefly summarize the mission of DHHL, backstory of why we're pursuing this as a strategy, the department's strategy to the financial assistance program, construction of homes, and the impact that this program will provide. As we all know, the department is tasked with this kuleana. So I don't want to divert or dilute the purity of the statement. I'll read it verbatim. The department's strategy is to, the department's mission and let me summarize real quick. The department's mission is to manage the trust lands effectively and to develop and to deliver lands to Native Hawaiians. We will partner with others towards developing self-sufficient and healthy communities, and that's what you heard earlier with Patty and Keola. We have a waiting list of 29,000 Native Hawaiians. For decades, the department has had an inventory of vacant parcels. Through this program, the strategy will be to develop on award-ready vacant parcels, turnkey houses that are based on that which the awardee can afford. We've identified a few hurdles that awardees are facing when receiving an award for vacant parcels that are scattered throughout the Pai'aina. Financing was part of it. Coming up with pre-construction monies, sometimes at the rate of 20% down, is very difficult for awardees to come up with. Next is the type of financing that fits their financial capacity. We've identified numerous federal sources that offer everything from market rate to as low as 1%. Some programs even provide subsidies to help the awardees cover the gap cost. The department also provides access to other types of financing when the awardee is denied by external parties. This is typically at a favorable rate of 4% per the commission. Let me pause there a quick one. As I mentioned, that we're committing to working with external resources that will help the waiting list assess their financial capacities and offer programs that will help repair their credit so that when they are called upon, they can quickly move through the process of financing. The other hurdle is that awardees that have been awarded a lot sometimes face the onerous task of navigating development of their house as an owner-builder. This turnkey program provides a solution by connecting Kanaka builders by using the emergency proclamation to work with awardees by utilizing pre-approved plans, providing a cost analysis, and where and when needed, finding pre-construction monies to bridge the financing until a permanent loan can be established. In most cases, with this program, the awardee will choose their lot. They will then choose from a list of selected models to build based upon their financial capacity. What kind of impact has it made, and what kind of impact will it make? Is we have about 289 parcels right now that are award ready throughout the Pai'aina. And as you see, it's scattered throughout the different islands. Most of it is on Hawaii Island with about 193 spanning from west to east down to Kau. Maui, Molokai, Lanai, not as much right now that are award ready, but with that particular county, we have about 37 parcels. Oahu, most of it is in West Oahu, or actually all of it is in West Oahu. And Kauai, we have 43 parcels, and most of it is at PMKK and Anahola. You know, so when you take a look at 289 parcels, right, we just had a groundbreaking recently in Kapolei, and that was for about 127 lots. 289 is going to be like 2.5 times that village. So it's going to make, it's a dent, and it's going to help the process. It's not much, but we're taking parcels that are available right now and building on it. One of the exciting things is utilizing the emergency proclamation. We've been able to address a couple of things, and one is working with Kanaka builders. They don't really have kind of the threshold to be able to compete in the RFQ and RFP process with SPO, but with the with the emergency proclamation, we're able to engage them, and much of these Kanaka builders are lessees. And talking about touching to see them giving back in a place that gave to them. The other one was using the emergency proclamation for the fire in Maui. We had a couple of families that got impacted at Leali'i, and so we're working on a house in Papakolea to be able to house them. And one of the guys that are there, the GC, general contractor, is a lessee that had his family had their house burnt down and so on, but he's giving back. So it's really exciting to see these testimonies of being able to work with Kanaka builders. You know, the most amazing outcome, I think, for me since I've been here in this past several months is actually seeing families come together and get lots awarded to them. And how exciting it'll be to see them receive the key to enter a house that they've been waiting for so long. What a rewarding feeling of success. We celebrate with them and we go right back and we repeat this process. I want to close with just a quick mapping of what it'll look like in this next 6 months. So there's a bunch of renovations that are going to take place, spanning across from Paukukalo, Lalamilo, Panaeva, Kapolei, and then new construction that's going to take place in Laiopua, Lanai, West Oahu, and Piilani Maikekai. With that, I thank you. Mahalo, trustees.
Mahalo. And before I open the questions and comments to the The trustees here just wanted to check if you have any other updates regarding Papakolea.
Nothing right now. We just have nothing right now. And what we're going to do is we're working with our housing division. There's a couple of houses in where is it? A couple of houses that we're working on to be able to address the issue that's happening. It's vacant, and we actually need to renovate it at Kalavahine. So that's about it for now.
Mahalo, Kalani.
Thank you.
Chair, and then Luana, and then Dan.
Kalani, how many names on the list that you folks go through to make one award?
That's a good question. So some of them are waiting for their preferred lot, even though they are on a list for example, we have agriculture, and say something popped up in Panaeva, but they didn't want to have Panaeva, they wanted someplace else. So they'll wait for it. We had a lot selection for Discovery Harbor in Kau. We went through the list 3 times, and 50 people showed up, and 8 people actually got awarded lots. So it really depends. Some of them, so we're trying to find what these hurdles are. We're hoping that with this program, we can actually help them navigate being able to go through the construction and be able to find the necessary financing. So sometimes it's really quick. We can identify awardees fairly quickly, and sometimes we need to go through a process.
Trustee Luana.
Yes, hi.
Alapa.
Good evening, Kalani. So
Aloha.
nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Trustee.
I would like to know if Hawaiian Homes would consider, or have they ever considered, purchasing land?
We are in the process with Act 279 in doing that, and we went out with an RFP. We had roughly about 17 to 20 proposals that came in. Our team has gone through and taken a look at it, and it spans from Hilo, Honoka'a, all the way to Kauai, and there's some that are in Kauai and everything in between.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Mahalo. Trustee Danahuna.
Aloha, Kalani, and
Aloha.
it's great
Nice to
seeing
see
you
you, Trustee.
again. In your presentation, you mentioned emergency proclamation.
Yes.
Here at OHA, we've been struggling with entitlements to build residential. How does an emergency proclamation allow you to build or to develop your residential?
So on this in there's a couple of things that stand out for us, and one is the being able to work through the process because of affordable housing, 103D, so the SPO process, which gets onerous sometimes because we really need to make sure we stay on track. So we're still doing that. It's just certain things we don't have to go through a RFQ or RFP process. The second thing that we continue to work through is prevailing wages, and so we're honoring that as well. And so we're working through that to be able to engage the type of labor and construction that we're working on. So the emergency proclamation, and there's 2 that we're utilizing. One is the one for affordable housing, and there's a second iteration of that we're working on. That we're utilizing. The second is the Maui wildfires, and so that I believe it's on its 7th iteration, and we're using that for those that were impacted on the island of Maui. You're welcome.
Trustee Trask.
Aloha,
Aloha,
Kalani.
Trustee.
The Big Island is going to move the board to commence a project working with Patty Tankayo and Keola on the Big Island. I'm looking for 5 acres with accessibility to electric and water. I need to present this to the commissioners and to Chair Cully. Please take that message to him and give me a call back at the office.
Okay.
I fly in almost every week from the Big Island, but I'm keen to meet with him now because we need to move it to our board. We need to have monies committed at $1 million per project, but I'm very keen to commence now on the Big Island. 5 acres is what we will need. And as you well know, the off-sites can go into the millions. So I'm looking for something that has accessibility, water and electricity. And I'm requesting to meet with the chair of the DHHL, Kali Telemililani is asking, and also with the commission. Thank you.
You're welcome. Will do.
One more thing.
Yes.
The lands below Punch Bowl,
Yes.
where it connects to Lincoln School, those are all Hawaiian lands. Could those be possible sites for kupuna housing too over there?
So I know there's some master planning that's going on. I'm not familiar with that, but I can take that back and be able to respond to you in writing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Trustee Keone Souza.
Aloha Kalani.
Aloha.
Sorry, one question. My goal is to get to the root of the problem, right, and figure out solutions from there. So how do you, in the process, when people apply and they're not qualified, what do you see just off the top of your head? Don't need to be an exact percentage, of that people that you guys contact, houses are available. What is the percentage of people don't qualify and we potentially have to bypass, or they go back to the bottom of the list, whatever it may be? Because I know one of the reasons you mentioned and pointed out that it's not necessarily a parcel that they actually want, right? So they'll agree to go back on the list until their parcel comes up. And then I understand, because sometimes there's like a single-story house and they have, husband, wife, and 3 kids, and they're going to bypass it. And so, but I'm curious as to the percentage of Hawaiians that we have to bypass because they're not qualified. What do you see in that? I mean,
So we are addressing that with working with external resources to be able to go through the credit repair, because we want to be able to work with them, get them ready, so when time comes up and their name gets called. And we're taking a preemptive approach on that and being proactive. So you're going to see a program that comes out to be able to address that very shortly.
okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Members, any other questions or comments? You good, Trustee Travis? You good? Okay. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Oh, wait, Kalamai, one more.
Oh,
Just-
thank you. And Kalani,
Akina.
just so glad to see you back in the islands.
Aloha,
Welcome
Tristan.
home.
Thank you.
Mahalo, I echo
Thanks.
in that. It's so good to see you, Kalani.
Good to see you too.
Aloha no. Our last presenter of the night is Lilia Kapuni'ai, Executive Director of Papakolea Development Corporation. Lehua, do we have any testifiers signed up for this item? Mahalo. Lilia. Aloha.
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 This thing, I'm kind of short. I feel weird. It doesn't go any shorter, he says. Okay, there we go. Okay, aloha mai kako. Welcome to our area. I apologize for not being able to host you up at the park. I know that was the original request, but I must tell you, the park is kind of pumping, and the parking is a scene. Okay, this is much easier for you to park right here, and you all can walk in and out, and you have some place to park, and no one's blocking you in and all of that, because we just have too much going on. So I thank you, Chair Lindsay. I thank you, Board, for being flexible, and I hope that this has been accommodating to you. There are a number of you on the board that I worked with many moons ago, and it's so good to see you all here and in a different position. I also want to acknowledge and welcome our community who's been waiting for this meeting. Kahea, Punohu, we have a young leader in the making. It comes with her mother, and I think that's very inspirational for some of us who've been doing this for many, many years. I used to get drug around to meetings with my mother, Kanani Kapuni'ai, and I know that sometimes it's kind of, you're like, what, why, again? But the thing is, after being drug around to meetings for 20 years or so, I know the issues. I know them in my heart because they were discussions at the dinner table, the breakfast table. They were discussions in the car. I mean, it would not stop. And so somehow you don't get away with it. But what we didn't know was that was our kupuna shedding light and educating us on what was ahead. And of course we didn't know that, right? Back then, we're too young. But now I'm older, I'm almost 50, and I think I understand just a little bit more. Not so much, but just a little. Anywho, we got Puni here from Kula. We have a number of representatives here, Puni Wave, who've been very active, Uncle in the corner. We have a lot of people from Papakolea who came out to support you and share their mana'o with you. And I thank you for allowing us to be here. I thank you for inviting me to be on the agenda. I'm not going to do a PowerPoint. I can get crazy with the PowerPoints and all of that. But I decided I'd make it simple. So I just gave you folks all a handout. And I have a couple messages. I could have prepared an ask for all of you because, boy, I got some asks. I have a number of asks. And they're all culturally aligned. They're all strategically aligned. They all have been initiatives that our people of Papakolea have been holding the torch and marching and supporting. Kahea, number 1, in support of our Native Hawaiian Education and Culture Center. She and her ohana have been supporting this endeavor since 2009. Park improvements, infrastructure improvements. I mean, how blessed are we that we have this beautiful park that we manage and control, but it ain't cheap, you know? No one gives us operating dollars to serve our Hawaiian people, our community. We have to raise the money within. We have to get it from facility use fees, and we have to create programs, and we have to charge rent. But that's still, all of that is manini. That's just pennies, you know? There's a lot to keep a park going and to keep the facilities safe for our children. And so anywho, it takes a community. And I came tonight to just real quick, we're very, very appreciative that OHA awarded PCDC approximately $120,000 in 2021. One was the COVID support project, and we did, it was hard because by that time we got the money, I'm not saying there's no pilikia, I'm just saying by that time we got the money and everything started ramping up, the COVID procedures, the strict COVID procedures were ramping down. So the stuff that we had proposed was no longer needed because it was like a year, 2 years later, right? And so we used the money to create training materials and brief participants that came to our activities. And we were able to make some enhancements at the park, which included a brand new AC system, which was very expensive, in all of our offices and in our library. And so that was we appreciated it. And I gave some of the money back because of the fact that we couldn't fulfill the things we fulfilled our outcomes that we proposed, but it didn't make sense anymore to do the things that we had proposed because the requirements were lessening. So I just said, okay, mahalo, but we're going to give it back. The second project, which was really important for the community, was the replacement of the playground. So the Office of Hawaiian Affairs awarded PCDC, I want to say it was something around $75,000 to replace the existing playground. And that was major. It really was major. We leveraged about, 190 something from the feds, because the total cost of the playground was about $286,000. And so we had to go elsewhere to get the money, and praise the Lord, we were able to get it. From the feds, we were able to replace the playground and build a whole new structure in a better place than what we had originally planned. Now the playground resides on the open basketball court. Dan, I know you're very familiar with the community. And so it's now in that open court because it really wasn't being used. And so we were able to make a larger playground and kind of, how should I say, expand the footprint. And the community wanted their swings back, and they wanted adult workout features, and so we were able to add those items in. And, you know, we were very, very, very thankful. The stats are in the handout. At the end of the day, I can talk numbers all day long, but when I look out now and I can hear the children laugh, and I see kupuna and their little ones walking around and swinging and going down the slide, that to me, we can do numbers all day long. When I see that after seeing nothing during COVID, prior to COVID, through COVID, that was a lot. So we finally were able to construct the new playground. And I thank you. And the community of Papakolea thanks you as well. So mahalo nui for that, for helping us get over the hump on that. Thank you. And then I kind of, Kalani, there you are, brother. Okay, so I wanted to address you appropriately. Is that deputy or, okay. Anyways, so because the other part of my presentation, it's not really a presentation, but in your handout, page 2, I briefly touched on it. PCDC in 2019 approved a strategic plan, and 4 of the items on the strategic plan, one being the replacement of the basketball court complex, because that basketball court, everybody knows it, in town knows. You drive up Tantless Drive, there it is, boom. It looks so majestic. Everybody in the community convenes there. That's their pu'uhonua. But it's made out of steel, and we all know what happens to steel in Hawaii. That was built 30, 40 years ago. It rusts. And so it's rusting, and it needs to be replaced. It's starting to become a safety hazard, and we do have estimates to replace it, all the planning work. I've gone out, got the estimates to do all the work, and we will start fundraising for that in 2024. Because all this time I had nothing to do. I figured 2024 I'm gonna bang them out. Okay, but I want to set my intentions in 2024 to fundraise to replace that basketball court. That's number 1. Number 2, where I'm getting at, is Pu'uwaina. That 14-acre segment you referred to on the slopes of Punch Bowl or Pu'uwaina. That parcel of land was set aside by the Department of Hawaiian Homelands for community-based economic development. In the 2009 regional plan, and which was later updated in 2020, the community and the 2 nonprofits that have been serving the community hand in hand, Kula no na Po'e Hawaii and Papakolea Community Development Corporation, has been working on building or planning to build the 2 priorities that community asked for. The 1 priority is the Native Hawaiian Education and Culture Center. So PCDC has taken that as our priority, and that's what we're looking to fundraise for and build. We kicked off our environmental assessment in August, and we are going to, nobody's out there going, can I pay for your EA? Because, all funders are like, are you gonna do it Hawaiian? And it's like, yeah, Hawaiian, I get them. We're gonna do them. But it's hard nowadays, and EA, I think when I built something in Kauai, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, the EA costed $75,000. My estimate from Group 70 is $450,000. That's kind of out of reach. So the only way we're able to do it is any little thing I raise and I save, I put 25, 35, 45, so we can get there, because I'm tired of not doing anything because I'm waiting for the big bang, if you will. So we're just going to do it. And we're going to do it little by little, step by step, pebble by pebble. And so we kicked that off. So that's what's going on in that parcel, Kalani. We're going to do the Native Hawaiian Education and Culture Center, and Kula Nonapo'e Hawaii is dedicated to building the Kupuna Assisted Living Center. It might have another name now. I'm not sure, Puni, but that's what's in the regional plan, and that's what Puni and Kula are working on. And so we're the two entities that serve Papakolea, and we've decided best way to get these two priorities done is one, we split the baby in half. So one entity takes one, the other entity takes the other. They have their partners that are focused in health, and we have our partners that are focused in Ike, Olelo, and education. And so I feel like it's a nice fit. It's a great way for all of us to live together, work together, and serve our community. On page 2 of your handout, you need magnifying glass. Sorry, I never pack one for y'all. But you can kind of see there, you see punch bowl, it's this little parcel over there. This little, this rendering, if you will, that's what the community, that's the rendering that community voted on. That's not the final deal. There are a number of folks that have approached us and said, hey, why don't we build this? Or why don't we add that? I'm like, that's cool. If we can talk more and we can talk about resources that you can bring to our project, I'm happy to explore it with my community. And then if community says, yay, then we're going to go, right? So that's real quick, you know, we stood up a beneficiary advocacy program. It was really a way for us to help our community navigate DHHL application processes within our office. I was very blessed to be able to have the retired Homestead Services Division Administrator join my team. And so she works very close with Juan, and she's able to assist our homesteaders. I felt like that was a need that she could fill. That's not something I could do, but she could do it, and she's got a lot of aloha, and she knows a lot of people. She's perfect. We have our Kupua'e Hawaiian language program, that's kind of been our flagship program for the last few years. We're very proud of it, trying to educate and normalize maybe olelo in the household. That's something I always wanted, and I feel like if we are living in Homestead and we're required to have koko, I feel like we have to know our language, because that's the other thing that ties us. We got the aina now. Now we got to have the olelo tie us together with our kupuna. It's just how it works, I think. I don't have any fancy words or stuff for that, but I think that's just how it goes. So anywho, I provided some photos of the blessing with the playground. The playground was dedicated to Tutu Joseph Akana. I love this story. Tutu Man donated the parcels that the park now resides on back to the department. His brothers didn't want the parcels, so he donated it back to the department, and he said, please build a park. And they did. Designate the land for the park so our children are safe, and they have a pu'uhonua, and we can take them off the roads. I love that story, and I love that the community supported dedicating the playground to Tutu Man. So with that, I thank you for your time. I'm happy to go over proposals and make my formal asks here and there. So go ahead and call me. I put my number on here, or, Akua is guiding us, and I just feel like what happens, happens. And so I'll be thankful for whatever. But we are doing the work, and I can give you the pala. I just didn't think y'all wanted to get in the weeds. And then just one last thing. Where's Patty? Oh, Patty girl left. So I worked with her at OHA 10 million moons ago. But I think that's so cool build those projects across the state. I just love it. And she's so akamai with the numbers. You guys give 1 million, they're going to raise 29. Hello. Like, I just love it. She's so akamai like that. And that girl has always been akamai like that. So I love that. I love seeing fellow Hawaiians doing stuff for their lahui and raising us all up at the same time. Mai ka iloa. So with that, unless you have any other questions.
Mahalo, Lilia. Members, any questions, comments? Trustee Danahuna.
Lilia, you mentioned the Kupuna project or Kupuna housing. Where did you guys have that planned for?
Well, right now, the site that's going, Puni, if you'd like, you can come join me, if you like.
Punikeko.
The Punikeka OHA, who is, I don't know her official title, but she's a big bull in Papakolea. And she's been...
OG.
She's the OG, been handling the Homestead Community Association matters for many, many, many years. But Kula, so in our preliminary, I mean, pretty much this is what the plan is. There's the parcel flanks Pu'awaina from Prospect to Auvailimu. The Native Hawaiian Education Culture side would be on the Auvailimu side. The feedback from the community was they wanted that center to be closest to the community because that would be the facility that the community would be accessing. And then because the other side of the property on Prospect Street has a larger footprint, I think it's like 3.5 acres out of 14, what our planners told us can be developed upon. So that is the side that Kula is planning to build the, I want to call it health complex, but, or I don't know what to call it, but this exciting project that they're gonna build for Kupuna Health for our community is gonna be on the Prospect side. And then the culture and Ike side gonna be on the Auvailimu side, closest to the community. Yeah? And so, I don't know if you're, I mean, can I? Yeah. Okay.
I'm good. Aloha, trustees. So just to answer the question.
Aloha,
Hi, how are you, brother? Okay, so Kula no Napo'e Hawaii has submitted a pre-application for the long-term lease of 7.25 acres of land on Pu'awaina. We sent it in July, so it's brand new, the ink is still wet. The department has supported our efforts to build the Pu'awaina Kupuna Supportive Living Center. The application is in partnership with Queens Health Systems and the University of Hawaii Department of Native Hawaiian Health, Papakolea, and the Lunalila Homes. That campus, I'll share a story. So when I was ED of PCDC back in the day, and Peter Hanohano was working for OHA. And Peter came and visited us, and I said, Peter, I'd like to take you to this site and picture this Kupuna Living Center on this site. So I took him, and I told him what we had, what we had in mind. And he turned around, and he put his back towards Stevenson, and he looked up toward the mountain, and he said, you know what you guys doing? I said, what? You're building an indigenous campus for Kupuna. So, what Papakolea, what Kula no Napo'e Hawaii, or Papakolea ke walo kalavahine, what this application is for is to develop an indigenous campus for Kupuna in health and in aging, and for Kupuna and the families of Papakolea. Now, I need to go on record. This development has nothing to do with the 600 million. It has nothing to do with the wait list. This project was a kahea from our Kupuna in 2009 who was struggling to get from the street, right, Talis, to the house. You're talking 30 to 50 steps up or down. This project is specifically for the Kupuna of Papakolea, Kevalo, and Kalavahine. Okay, there's some misinformation in the general public about our project. We've not launched it a lot. We just getting started. Community conversations will begin in October. So trustees, I signed up for talkstribe.org, but just to kind of set the record straight about our project, we're not asking for money right now. We're going to start the kuka, the vala'au, with our community, and then later on. It's going to take a while. Kali would like it done next year. We said no, cannot. Too much restrictions, too much requirements, and we have to do it right. We are on the slopes of Puwaina. That mauna has a lot of cultural significance, and we're not going to play with trying to skirt requirements, especially environmental and cultural required surveys. So Kula would like to assure the board that we're not fast-tracking this baby. We're going to make sure we do it right. It's going to take a while, and it will cost a lot of money, but we do have Dr. Nadine Andrade is with us, Sherry Daniels is with us, Kiawe Kaholokula is with us, Kiola, who was here earlier, they're supporting. So we're really looking at an indigenous campus for kupuna health and well-being for the kupuna Papakolea and their families, okay? So it's going to be really important. I have plenty of neighbors who's very concerned, on Prospect. So we have to kuka, okay? And I'll be back because I don't want to cut in line. But mahalo nui, clarification on the kupuna project. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Mahalo, Puni. I have one more comment to make. Lilia, I just wanted to say thank you for the kupuna during COVID when you guys fed all the kupuna. I saw you guys cones lining up for the meals and stuff. You guys did a wonderful job.
Oh.
Especially with delivering all those meals to the kupuna and my mom waiting outside on her deck for her meals, and they look forward to all of that. So I just wanted to say thank you because people have no idea how hard it is to just get home for some of them. So thank you so much for doing a wonderful job.
You're welcome. On behalf of Kula Nonapo'e Hawaii staff, volunteers, and PCDC volunteers who also coordinate some meal delivery, you're welcome. And when I worked at CNHA and OHA, I never thought I wanted to work in community. I always felt like my role was in a larger, not larger, but in a macro level impact. That's where I always saw myself. But coming to Papakolea, and since building this pilina with my neighbors and people like Puni, Kahea, Puka, everyone who's here. I know every single one. I know where they live. I know if they get abandoned cars in front of their house because I get the complaints. I know who's doing things they're not supposed to do. I also know who's doing things they should be doing and wonderful things. But I love it. And I love them, and I love this position, and I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. I am supposed to be on the ground. So anytime our community is going to step in and kokua each other, I want to be there and help. I think it's my calling.
And then one last thing before you go, because it's getting bigger, Papakolea, get Kalawahini, Puawaina, get, Upper Papakolea.
Mm-hmm.
Why not one day have a shuttle so everybody can access the park, so everybody can access all the areas in Papakolea and stay within your community? Because it's hard for the people down on the bottom to walk all the way up to the park.
Brother Dan, we got to talk. You got my number.
Yeah, right on. I see you.
Next on the agenda, we have our community concerns and celebrations. Ehua, do we have any I see that we do have various ones signed up for this one. 3. Mahalo. The first one we have is Richard Chan Jr. of PCA Papakolea Community Association. Nice t-shirt.
I like it too. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Richard Chan, and I'm a lessee in Papakolea. And I'd also like to extend a heartfelt gratitude for you guys coming out here and listening to what we have to say from Papakolea. I'm just a little saddened by the fact that a lot of our lessees didn't show up from the meeting that we had on Saturday. With that, though, I thank you Brother Dantu, Mililani, for coming up and sharing what lovely thoughts you guys had. Thank you so much, and making me feel comfortable. So now I will go on, and I want to inform you guys of my situation. A couple years ago, I went down to the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs to find out just what was going on with the Papakolea Community Association at that time. At that time, I also realized that that was the last time in 2021 that they had filed for their excise tax license. And until now, they're in arrears. So generally, that would mean they're non-existent, which leaves the lessees in Papakolea without representation. That was my dilemma 2 years ago. And I talked with Puni from Kula, as well as Lilia from PCDC. And both of them, I've got to give them my gratitude and appreciation, because they supported my willingness. In fact, they actually pushed me to try to form another association. And for the last 10 months, you guys probably know what I'm going to talk about now. If you look at the attendance at these meetings, yeah, they're pretty scant at best. So I went through that for the last 10 months, and I endured that to the point where the 8 people that were in that meeting said, "Richard, why don't you just become the president and move on with this thing?" And it took me about 5 months to kind of finally realize that that's the way we got to go in order to kick this thing off. So at the beginning of September, this month, I decided to elect myself as the president of the Community Association, the new one. We don't really have a name, but we're flying by the PCA anyway for now. Let's see now. So that's my predicament. We had our first meeting this past Saturday at the courts of the park, and we had 28 people show up. But I got to say one thing. These people were interested. They were concerned and willing to back and support this movement that we had. So much so that one of our members here actually pushed us to have an election for officers at that time. And I was kind of hesitant because I really wanted to have more discussion and debate to present more people for these positions for the board. But we threw up for vote, and everybody told me, let's go with what you decided so far. So I am the president for now. I'd like to think of the interim. I have a vice president, which is Francine Popo Ali'i. I have a secretary who volunteered, Elizabeth Garcia. And then I have a brother who volunteered as well to become the sergeant of arms. Currently, I'm looking for a treasurer, and we're not that far away from getting one. So that's the predicament or the situation that I'm in. So after realizing that there was 2 meetings that were coming up this week, one was last night with our councilmen and 2 state representatives, I didn't have too much time to prepare, so I have to apologize to you, because after talking to Ms. Mililani Trash, she informed me that you guys do have a lot of programs or grants that you can award my request, and this was going to be my request. I was going to ask if OHA does have support mechanisms as well as funding to help a fledgling organization out as Papakolea Community Association is, to help nurture, develop, and maybe even fund some of the office and clerical supplies that we might need, furniture, even one mobile office or something like that. But you know, that's why I'm here. I'm requesting if there's any grant money or funding that can support this effort, so that realistically, it might be 2 years that we were not in existence and never have a representation. But if I look back, and I've lived in the community since 1993, the last meeting I went to was in 2002, and it was a slugfest. It wasted my time. I don't want to have those kind of meetings ever again. So I plan to run these things with order and respect towards each other. But in order to do that, we need capital to just start it up. And like I said, we only had our first meeting on Saturday, and we're already looking at probably talking about how we're going to fund this thing. And I know with the dues that we can collect from a Hawaiian homestead, I don't think we're going to accomplish that in any way soon. So anyway, that's my request. I thank you for hearing that. Do you have any questions or concerns?
Richard, you're asking for money to put the board together, your board together? Is that what you're saying?
First of all, I'm asking support because this is not my field of expertise.
Yeah.
But I'm cast in there simply because I'm concerned about the community not having representation to the state and federal level. I'm concerned about, in reciprocation, the information that's going to impact this community or has impacted us in the past is never made available to them. So in order to use some of the technology we have, that's what I'm asking for. If we can have funding to, like, say, computers. All we need is one. An office space, all we need is one. And then clerical supplies like that. And the means to transfer this information of our meetings and minutes of those, any concerns that coming down the pike from DHHL or the federal government that's going to impact the beneficiaries of the act so that they can respond with a strong and well-informed voice. I'm looking to provide that to the community, and make it accessible so if, people can't come to the meeting, but they can come to a website, So that's my intent, overall intent. In a small bucket, that's what I'm talking about. Just get support. And if you don't have that program within the mission statement of OHA, I understand. I'll have to probably look elsewhere. Okay? So, yeah, that's basically it.
Aloha, Richard.
Aloha.
You have a Papakolea Hawaiian Homestead Association. When you and I talked many years ago, it was Nona and Bob Freitas.
My auntie and uncle, yes.
Passed for many years. They have passed. Mm-hmm. When you return to the DCCA, get a copy of what was filed but hasn't been updated for 2 to 3 years.
No.
That document will tell you who previously was using the name of Papakolea Hawaiian Homestead Association. Contact them. Are they still in existence? If they are not, you can go now and refile. But before you do, look at their articles and bylaws. What you and your group may want to do may not be the same as them. But pretend you go and you call them and they say, hey, we're not mucking. We're just taking a break for COVID years, which has happened to a lot of groups. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, it shouldn't stop you from making your own. You can go ahead and do it, put your board together, and file your papers with the DCCA. The Office of Hawaiian Affairs has a website. On there is posted grants that we've given, grants that we have open. There is a short period of time, but it happens every year. So once your corporate papers and your corporate identity is established, then you look at the funding that we have. And one of the things we're trying to do is create an agreement, a relationship to work with our sister agency, Department of Hawaiian Homelands. But when you get to that point, you can look right now on your computer. Go to the OHA website, see the grants that we have, what the criteria is. And I know that DHHL with Kali there will also be interested. But one of the things I'm keen to do is to establish a sister agency agreement. DHHL's obligation is with the small ends under American law. DHHL only work with those Hawaiians of 50% blood or more who can prove it with the paper of the white man. OHA's obligation is not only to the small ends, but also the capital N's. So if you are less than 50% blood, or if you're a Hawaiian who had more but cannot show it because your grandmother was born at home, OHA can still help you. OHA is for the small ends of 50% blood and more, or the capital ends, and that's what America has done to us. But we have to get around that. And that's why I'm saying, first thing, find out if you can use a name. If you can, go for it. Register the paper. I think it's under $100 or $50. Then you can look at and apply. But if you go there and you call them up and they're still there, so what? You can still proceed, but you cannot call yourself Papakolea Hawaiian Homestead. That name would already be registered. But take a look at our grants. There is only one trustee for the Big Island, only one for Maui, only one for Kauai. Because the way the election works is that there's a certain number of trustees that run at large. And what that means is that Hawaii Island will never have more than one. Because all the voters, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, are on Oahu, So remember that. You know what I'm saying? When we go forward, but it shouldn't prevent you at all. And if you need any help, just kahea. Big Island is not so far away. I will not hear you. Aloha.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Our next testifier is Kimokia Barros.
Aloha kako. Speaking to you all tonight is a dream come true for me. I represent my ohana on the mainland. I am one of the 53% mainland Hawaiians, but I'm one of the lucky ones who has made it home. I've lived here permanently since last February. I returned to serve the Lahui. I'm a special education teacher with the Department of Education. It's not easy. I have a lot to learn, but one thing I've learned so far is the current condition of Native Hawaiian people is much, much worse than I could have possibly imagined in the 35 years I lived on mainland. I know all of you by face. I've been following you for years. It's wonderful to actually see you all. I also review grants for OHA too in my spare time when I'm not teaching. So, I got family mainland. The other family is on Maui in Lahaina. My grandmother's house burnt down. So I get family mainland, my only family here, now all of them are homeless. Double whammy for me. I was very concerned this morning when I saw this email and this quote from this interim CEO. I will quote him, "Let us find better ways to keep these Hawaiians connected to their families, their culture, and their identity." Nothing was said about connecting Hawaiians to their land. I can tell you, as a mainland Hawaiian, we want to come home. All my uncles, aunties, we want to be here. We don't want to do hula in Tennessee. We don't want Papakolea Hawaii in New York City. No, we don't want immersion school in Vegas. We want to be home. We get 30,000 on the wait list. What was it? 680,000 on mainland that want homes here. I live in Palolo. I see empty homes all around me in my neighborhood, sitting there empty. They're not for my family, they're for somebody else's family. Empty homes. So, I heard earlier in the introductions from someone how OHA has been working since 1970s to build houses for Hawaiians. We need a lot of houses, don't we? Maybe instead of building houses, what can we do with all these empty houses? Why isn't OHA focusing strategies on how we can return Hawaiians home? We don't need resources there. We need resources here. I have one more point to make. As I mentioned, my family is on Maui. I spent the last week in Lahaina. I came back from Lahaina yesterday, visiting my cousins who are now homeless. I heard from someone tonight that the people of Maui are resilient. I do not doubt that. But my cousin and her 1-year-old and her 4 other kids, they're scared. Everyone's gonna put on a brave face, but they're scared. They're thinking of going mainland. We're gonna have no family here, no connection. That's what I'm concerned about. What are we gonna, I heard that we visited the mayor. Did we visit people? I heard someone say that the Maui Lahaina people are getting closure right now. The Lahaina's reopened. My cousin, not in her zone, I believe, if you look at that map, there's like 6 streets that are open right now of the whole town. How many days they get? They get 2 days to go through their things from 9 to 4 during their working hours. Got to take off work if you still get job to go look at your home for 2 days before you're locked out of your home. She hasn't seen her home in almost 2 months. And what are we worried about most? Our iwi kupuna on the land. Everything's burnt, everything gone. What about the bones? What is OHA doing to protect iwi? I can't imagine how many other Hawaiian families get iwi kupuna in Lahaina. I haven't heard anything about what's being done to that, considering that in the development. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so we have one testifier left, Antipuni Kekaoha.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Puni Kekaoha, for the record. Born and raised Papakolea, 745 Iaukia Street. I am currently the Senior Vice President of Kula no Napo'e Hawaii. This organization is a nonprofit, community-based organization. We are a beneficiary service organization, 30 years old, founded by the Kupuna of Papakolea in 1992. Founded by Grandma Mariah Sugunuma, Auntie Winona Wright, Molaka Lee, and Auntie Nemomi Nahinu. So these women founded this nonprofit in order to change the way our people were looking at the schools and to get our parents more involved with the education of our keiki at Lincoln, at Pauoa, mainly at the elementary schools. We were tired of looking at all those articles that point to Native Hawaiian children in our district whenever there was low math scores, low reading scores, yeah? So the Kupuna wanted to turn it around and bring parents into the school to engage more in a positive manner to uplift the keiki of Papakolea and to change it. And they were successful in doing that. We together were successful in that. Today, I am proud to say we have just received our second grant, 3 years from the Native Hawaiian Education Program to conduct the Kukalahale Learning Project. This project will serve 2,700 children that attend Pauoa Elementary, Lincoln Elementary, Stevenson Middle School, and Roosevelt. How we will do this is we are providing resources to support teachers. To Lincoln School, they need more supplies. They need bikes for the new preschool. We got all of that. We're supporting the teachers at these schools, and we're also providing wraparound services. So we have an after-school program just started 2 weeks ago. I got about 30 babies, K to 12. They're at the park. They're in the Lamaku and the Junior Leader Program. And so we do homework time, and then they get cultural classes, and they get fun time. So we are there at the park. Papakolea Park, like Lilia said, is banging. There's no space for anything else. We are maxed out at the park. So we have that going on. When the children are at school, we have the Kupuna Community, KCCN, Kupuna Community Network, KCCN. We are at the end of the second round of funding from ANA, literally tomorrow, formally. But we will continue. KCCN is currently serving 350 kupuna in Papakolea and the surrounding areas and outside Pearl City. So we got about 140 kupuna of that big number that live outside of Papakolea. So we have been providing kupuna with health education, physical exercise, kanikapila, they get tai chi. So we have this whole program that supports our kupuna along with our caregivers. So we do caregiver training. A lot of our kupuna caregivers are burning out, taking care of kupuna that have memory loss. Yeah. So we are training kupuna. We just completed a curriculum called the Awamoke Kuleana. And it's a Native Hawaiian curriculum to help caregivers to better understand what is this disease of Alzheimer's that my mommy and my daddy going through, and what do I do? Yeah, so we're providing education, importance of self-care, and what are the resources out there to help everybody. We just got a grant from the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. In COVID, Kula answered a kahea of people from Papakolea who were homeless and living on the streets in Papakolea. And we were successful in working with state people, agencies, and together we received a grant. We helped to house people, yeah? So we housed 30 people that were on the street, and they were all from Papakolea. And we know that there's a lot more people that are houseless, living on the street. The Department of Hawaiian Homelands has provided Kula a grant called Ho'okele, Navigate. So we are navigating our people into getting the services and housing that they need. What we know is that our people need more care in, case management. We cannot just find them on house and let them go. We have to be with them throughout so they don't lose the food stamps and the monetary and all of the, other things that they need in order to lift them up, yeah? So we have Ho'okele, and then we also have KCC and Ho'okele, and then, in our program. We are very busy. I have a staff of 20. We have 12 community health workers certified. I have 5 social workers, and I have 4 people that are taking their LCSW exam this month. So Kula is extremely busy. We were on the ground during COVID. We did all the shots and all the food and everything that was going on during COVID. So, it is our pleasure to serve the people of Papakolea. 85% of our staff are from Papakolea, Kevalo, and Kalawahine. We try to hire from within. And, and we're all in Papakolea Community Center, and it's very tight. So, and my time is up. Thank you very much.
Mahalo Anake.
Questions? I'm supposed to say, get questions? Any questions?
Puni, I just wanted to say thank you. Growing up Papakolea, it was much different than when you took over. I remember when you first started and the changes that has become.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for everything you do.
Welcome.
Everything seems much more safer.
Yeah, that is good.
Thank you so much.
Mahalo.
Mahalo. And I also want to note into what was said earlier with the previous speaker is that we are actively working on housing, and that's specifically on our Haku'one property in Kaka'ako-Makai. And we have been in communication with those in Lahaina, our Hawaiian community members, and also with Uncle Archie Kalepa. And we will continue to do so. Our last speaker, our last community concern of the evening is Kahealani Keahi.
Aloha. Belina mai ke aloha kako, aloha o punohu le papahia pili kiahi no kalawihine mai au. Mahalo for having us today here. I am from Kalavahine, born and raised, one of many who were born and raised in Kalavahine. And o kahealani ko'uma umakua.
Aloha o kahealani kiahi no Kalavahine mai au noho au ma ka'alanui o Kamalalehua. Aloha, mahalo for having us here and for listening to our communities. I put my name in last minute, mostly because I wanted to thank all of you for having these community meetings that I think is very, very important. While you was talking, I tried to be very respectful and look, but I had to put on my Instagram and Facebook and tell our homesteaders to hurry up and get down here. And they answered with, we're getting ready for the parade tomorrow. We're making leis and flowers. I was like, okay, I'll give you updates then. So that's what they're doing. They're getting ready for tomorrow. So I have to give them the updates. But I wanted to thank Rick, who was very courageous for stepping up and trying to get our community association back up. From the Kalavahine standpoint, we're very, very thankful and excited to participate in the community associations and in all the programs that they have, mostly because okay, let me see, you were 3 years old, she's 20 now. Back then, I really was not supportive of our community association in Kalavahine because we don't support, many of us in Kalavahine did not support the DCCNR's rules. So we don't have it anymore. I did have to take it all the way to court, and Native Hawaiian Legal Corporation helped me with that against having those DCCNRs in place. So we're very happy to be in one community with Papakolea and Kewalo. So it's Papakolea, Kewalo, and Kalavahine who come together and support each other. So I'm very, very happy about that. And they're very accepting, and we learn from each other. Just last night, we were together at a community meeting that was called by our city council. So Dela Bilati was there, and also our city council who represents us, that we're so happy to have him. I was like, what, your last name is Tam? We know Tams. they helped us for many years. Rod Tam. He used to come up with a cake and put Mahalo Rod Tam from Rod Tam. So we're very, very happy to have them come and listen to us. I also wanted to say that besides having the support of the community and our 3 communities as one, in 2009, our Ohana from Kalavahine proposed the Native Hawaiian Education Center that is hopefully going to happen soon in Puawaina. So we're just in the garage talking about what are we going to do. Native Hawaiian Education Center, womb to tomb. So we did that proposal, very, very excited about it, and we hope that it'll start soon. We have some kupuna now who have children who's like already going to graduate soon, was hoping that they could have their children have a Native Hawaiian school, Hawaiian language school in our Papakolea community. So our thought was, if we could have every Hawaiian homestead community have a Hawaiian language school in our community, I think that would be the connection of not just our language, but the whole culture, and taking care of our aina, not just in our community, our neighborhood, our street, but our whole watershed. Which brings us to, I asked the city council to help me to do some research on our stream. We're talking about fire mitigation, we're talking about houses shifting, we're talking about the aina. So the only stream in our communities, our 3 communities, is Kapo'opo'o, which turns into Kanaha, that connects to Makiki Stream, man-made. It doesn't run anymore. So we have mo'olelos from our community members here who used to swim in it, jump in it, dive in it. So we no longer have a running stream, which is a pilikia. So what I'm trying to do, and hopefully maybe OHA can help, is to find out why our stream does not flow anymore. We're also small-time kalo farmers in Makiki Valley. We have lo'i there that my ohana takes care of. Little by little, moleka, maunalaha, and kanealole that comes together to become a Makiki stream and goes out to the ocean. one by one, the streams are drying up. So Mauna Laha, which is right behind Halau Kumana, my daughter graduated from, and right behind, right next to Hawaii Nature Center, dried up. The stream that feeds our lo'i that we malama, and we got the kalo from Hawaii Island, Waipi'o. I have family in Waipi'o who gave us the kalo, and we planted it there. So it's very important that it stays there. It's starting to dry up. So no longer can the communities there and the school that we provide kalo for, we can't have the kids even come in to help and to connect the pilina with the ikikupuna because the waters are drying up. So all of that connection with the alawai, we were in the Protect Our Alawai watershed too. All of that with the flooding, for us, doesn't make sense because we don't have flooding. Our problem is lack of water. Yeah. So we really want to look into the watershed of our aina of Papakolea, Kalawahine, and Kewalo. As the years went on, living in Kalawahine, I learned that Kalawahine was really a person during the 14th century. She was an ali'i, she was a kahuna la'o lapa'au, she cared for the aina, she was a resource of the water, and she's an inspiration to us today and still living. Since then, we found out all of the achievements that was made by her and the people at that time, and we have found vahipana in our aina that speaks to us today, which helps guide us to where we need to go. So, ola ikawai. I also have family in Maui that are helping the people in Lahaina from Wailuku. So when we talk about the fires in Papakolea, Kalawahine, and Kewalo, we do need to address those things because there's open space with a lot of brush, overgrowth, and big trees that need to be taken down. That's also in our Kahawai. So those are some of the big concerns that we have that we still need to address the Department of Hawaiian Homelands again with the new leadership. Yeah. So that was just my short mana'o. Mahalo.
Let me go ahead. Mahalo. I just wanted to offer up some comments because I live right on Tantlis Drive, right before Hawaiian Homes ends. You know, back in the day, we used to jump in the stream, bomb everything. The water was going down. You know, we frequently went up on our skateboards all the way up. And as you go up and up, you can notice that none of the houses have water systems. So they have all these catchment systems. But what they did is they built a big tank, water tank. If you go up to the lookouts and you see it, ever since they built that, everything dried up. But the reason why I want to share this with you is because I used to walk the streams all the way down to the beaches and stuff like that. One of the outfalls where it ended up is Kahakau, Kukui, and Kukui Aio, which is our lots down in Kaka'ako. So that was on Ahupua'o where Papakoleans used to frequent. So if you go down Kiwalas, you see a lot of the people around there. The trail used to connect us there. That's where we was for when we used to play in the water. But those streams was very important growing up. I know because I played in those streams, and I remember going up past Kalawahine, you know, right by that park and playing down there in that stream. I don't know if the park is still there or what happened, but I remember the water flowing down, and yeah, you're right. It should continue to flow. Where did it go?
Right.
You know, I heard rumors about an Alawai project. Maybe the Halau Kumana students can share all of that with you guys.
We were part of it. You go look me up, I'm going to be like, there's a sign. So we helped stop that project. We took them to court as well.
So that's why I brought that up. So I'm sure she knows about it. Yeah.
Yes, we're a big part of that project. And we're still going to meetings to today with USES.
Yeah.
So they brought it back from the dead. So we're still monitoring it and making sure that in Kalawahine, we are the only community with a detention basin. So the USES project with the Stop Alawai project that we were in, it was Palolo, and I work in Palolo also at Anoinue Hawaiian Immersion School. So Palolo, Manoa, Makiki with Papakolea. with Kalavahine. So we're the only one of those three ahupua'a that has a detention basin, and we were trying to do stream restoration. So we ku'e that thing as much as we could, and we built an ahu right by that detention basin where the kahavai is, and we held cultural events or pule ceremonies, ahas there. And if you drive up Kalavahine, you can see the ahu that we built. Wow. So what had happened was the detention basin, the aina spoke for itself. A tree grew out of it and bust the whole thing open. So we no longer have a detention basin. Also, their water supply was going to build a 2 million gallon water tank there when our community has already lived there over 20 years, right next to our house. We ku'ed that too for a long, long time. Finally, Board of Water Supply said, okay, we're not going to build anymore. So mahalo ke akua. Now we're waiting for the Board of Water Supply to give the land back to the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, because they're still trying to connect the pipe so that they can build one probably when I'm dead. I don't know, because they did that. Auntie Lena Ala Kalamahaini was the first one of our kupuna who went ku'e that in Kalavahine, and Uahala Oya, as soon as she passed away, they tried again. So we want to make sure that it doesn't go any further, and that land is given back to Hawaiian Homelands. And when I spoke to Kara Fukunaga, who was a city council at that time, she's our senator now, she came to our community in that kahavai, looked at it, and called DHHL over to make sure that they malama that place. So what we have right now with the new leadership is to go back again. We've been doing this for how long? To the new leadership to make sure that that whole place gets maintained. So what I heard from the last leadership, they're going to come every 6 months. So in between there, we've been going to the stream, my daughter and I and a couple other manawahines from Kalavahine and Ohana, cleaning that stream and trying to keep the debris out. But the big work needs to be done by DHHL.
Yeah, and if you've been to Roosevelt High School and Stevenson, between that, there's that culvert that is dried up. Before the bridge, we used to climb
we have a homeless problem, a big homeless problem. So a lot of them, we don't even know they're strangers. There's some within our community that we had helped with the help of Puni and Kula. So I was one of them, jump in the car, I drive them all the way to Maili, take them to their new place. So, you know, you got to do what you got to do for our people. But the homeless community is a problem.
Thank you so much.
Mahalo nui.
Mahalo. And now moving on to announcements, I want to say mahalo nui to Koanana Middle School for allowing us to have our meeting here this evening. I'm proud to say that I attended summer school sessions here as well. And I want to say mahalo to our trustees, our staff, all in attendance, and all who have been live streaming this evening. I'll now ask for a motion to adjourn. Wow, that was quick. Okay. Roll call, please.
Aye.
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 Mahalo lehua. Ohui ho kako. Aloha no.